Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another BKFC Reddit Ask Me Anything. We're joined by Cody Vidal. How you doing, sir?
Doing amazing, brother. Doing amazing. Thanks for having me again. I know earlier the first broadcast wasn't very broad, um, but we're gonna cast it right this time.
So, do you have a fighter nickname? Like, I didn't see anything, but are you one of those guys who thinks of a fighter nickname is a good thing, or like you use your own name for branding?
Everyone knows Fedor as Fedor. Everyone knows Tyson as Tyson. Everyone knows Usyk as Usyk. Everyone knows the Klitschko's as Klitschko's. Everyone knows Ali as Ali. Everyone knows, fuck man, Stipe as Stipe. John
Sure,
Jones as well. John Jones, right? Everyone knows these guys without a nickname,
sure.
right? They're the legends. And Rocky Marciano, he was the main influence for the movie Rocky. People say Chuck Wepner and whatnot, but no, the movie's called Rocky because it's of Rocco Francis Marciano, which is, Rocky Francis Marciano, the Brockton blockbuster. Uh, and so, with that said, you must let your actions define your name, and your name define your actions. And so, people know me as Vital, where I come from, and people in California they call me by Cody and Matthew because I never had the same like impact on them so far, because California's a lot bigger, and you know, when you grow up with individuals, they know you. But then when you grow, when you live as an adult, as a father, as a business owner, you know, in in a much more mature life, people don't see you as the psycho they once saw you as. So that was my nickname growing up, was Psycho, because of the way I expressed myself, the way I attacked in sports and in fighting.
Have you always been such an intense guy? Did that come like later? Like you seem super passionate and intense. Were you that way your entire life, or is that something like as you got more self confidence and developed more of like your personality?
Yes and no. I come from a father who's fucking crazy, and when I was 4 years old, my mom had me diagnosed with ADHD and put me on medication. And I was on medication till fifth grade, till I faked a seizure to get off of it. I was smart enough to fake a seizure because I used to watch professional wrestling obsessively, and Mick Foley used to put the mandible claw on people, Mr. Sacco and the mandible
Sure.
claw, and he used to shove it down the throat, and they would foam out the mouth, and they would convulse. And so I did that one day when my mom tried giving me the Ritalin, and she freaked out, told the pediatrician she's never given me drugs again, and it stopped there. But yeah, definitely it became more expressive as time went on. I mean, one thing nobody's ever been able to do is shut me up. No one, and it's not, and I don't mean that cocky. Like, I can't, like, well, I can, but it's really hard to shut me up because my brain is always talking to me, right? And I'm not my brain. You're not your brain. Your brain is a flesh computer, and my brain operates very, very quickly. And so, an individual with ADHD, right? They call it attention deficit hyperactive disorder. They make it sound like it's a disorder. People like me rule the world. You don't believe
Sure.
me? Look at Elon Musk. The guy's fucking
Sure.
autistic, right? You think Donald Trump is normal? You think he's neurotypical? No, he's neurodivergent. He's he's a narcissist, but it works for him, right?
Sure.
Like, what is narcissist? I hate the word narcissist. Okay, let's just say this. He's very self-absorbed. He's very about himself. He's very about winning. Okay, and I win big. And so, I mean, I don't idolize any one of these celebrities. I definitely don't like politicians. I could care less if anybody has a problem with what I just said. Never, not one of these guys is ever going to take a bullet for you. People will say, "Well,
Sure.
Donald Trump took a bullet for us in his ear," and stuff like that. Like, I'm not even going to go there. I'm not going to talk about politics, so I'm going to leave that one out. But let's just say this, man. I'm not for or against. I don't care. I live my life, and that's part of me verbalizing. That's part of me being confident and being certain of who I am. Is I can say whatever I want. I can say whatever I want. And so when you're thinking about my intensity, right? You got to think about what the word intensity means. Well, in and then intensity. There's tension within. Well, what is that tension? That tension is the ability to not live, the ability to not survive, but the ability to thrive. My last name, Vital, means life of God. It means full of life. Vida El. Okay? Full of life, like my dog down here that's about to die if it doesn't stop. Just kidding. You're a good little girl. So, point about that is that yes, I've always been intense, and it's just like a volcano, right? Volcanoes, they combust, they build up before they combust, and once they blow, there's no stopping it. And so, Cody the Volcano has a good ring to it. Cody the Vulcan has a good ring to it. My nickname was Psycho before. I like to think of ADHD as aggressive, deadly, hyperactive destroyer. That's the way I define it, right? But I think the nickname that I'm going to have here after the 21st is Cody Viral Vital. And it's going to be for the reasons that are good reasons. It's going to be because I'm going to win, and I'm going to do it in style. And I'm not just going to win. I'm not just a fighter. I'm a speaker, and I'm an entertainer. I'm an educator, and I empower other people.
Let me ask you this. You're a smart guy. You do a lot of stuff with the brain and you know all the stuff with the brain. As fighters, you see some fighters who are punch drunk and stuff like that. Is there any concern for you? You're a guy who uses his brain. How do you justify putting your brilliant mind at risk in these fights?
To think that way is limiting belief, right? Most people want to live to preserve their lives. You're not living, you're surviving. People talk about their retirement plans from the time they're fucking 18 years old. I've heard people talk about that when they're young. Like, yeah, I'm going to go work on the railroad with my father and I'm going to have a really good retirement plan and I can retire when I'm 65. There's no fucking guarantee you're going to live till you're 65. What the fuck is wrong with you? You've been programmed to believe that. It's fucking stupid. It's the
Sure.
dumbest shit in the fucking world to think you're going to be alive when you're 65, when you're 18 years old. It's so dumb. In fact, some of those people that talk that way are dead.
Sure.
How'd they die? They died on motorcycles. Or they died, sadly in just stupid fucking ways. Me, I grew up suicidal and homicidal. I had suicidal, homicidal thoughts through my mind all the time. People are like, well, that sounds crazy. You fucking bet it is, right? Well, we live in a food chain. Human beings, we're on top of the food chain. What's the food chain? It's kill or be killed. It's eat or be eaten. It's do or die, right? And so if you want to talk about it from a competitive standpoint, then to be crazy and being aggressive, being intense means that you're winning, right? But there's a way to be about it. And it's not being crazy. It's not being intense. It's not being aggressive all the time. It's actually being calm. Calm is confident. Confident is self-trust. And when you're confident, you're in control of your thoughts, in control of your emotions, in control of your actions, in control of your results. I just know when to turn it on and when to turn it off. I'm really good at that. So you're asking me questions like, well, are you concerned for your brain? Never once was I ever concerned for my fucking brain. I used to want to put a bullet in my brain, right? And so I still have that mentality, like a kamikaze mentality, but it's not just a kamikaze mentality. It's not just attack, 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 and win, 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 win. It's calculated. It's efficient. And so, coming from a background where I was a very homicidal kid, coming from a background where I was a suicidal kid, and having the therapy done to me that I needed to be done to me, the hypnotherapy done to me that I needed to be done to me, first and foremost, I give all the glory to God. I give all the glory to God. Without a spiritual life, without prayer, without meditation, without positive thought, without love and wisdom, I wouldn't be here. But once you once you obtain that certain level of wisdom with the prayer, the meditation, the visualization, whatnot, that's when you do hypnotherapy like I did, and you start tapping into the subconscious mind and you start becoming supernatural and you start not a project but you start to project. See, most people look at that and they see the word project. It's project, right?
Okay.
Projection is attraction. What you think is what you're going to attract, right? And then on the backside of that is the word I am. Most people don't realize this, but Jesus' real name is Yeshua. Yeshua means the salvation of Yahweh. Yahweh is the Father. Now, when Yeshua was translated from Aramaic to Greek, it was Lesaus, and from Greek to French, it was Jesus. And Jesus literally means J-I sus am. I am. So your question is, was I always intense? Yes.
That's what I love of like I had never interacted with you, and then I jumped on your live, and I was like, this dude's fucking intense. I got to get him on the show, and I had wanted to get you on the show before. Like I said, we talk about some of the hypnosis stuff. So it sounds like what triggered you and got you into hypnosis was you yourself being treated with it. Like, is that when it started, or like when did you know like I want to really unlock the full potential in my mind and help others do the same thing?
Man, when you're constantly thinking about killing other people and about fucking killing yourself, right? People are probably like, oh man, get this guy a psych ward. Listen, I'm talking about years ago. And give me credit. People used to say I was crazy and whatnot. I have greater self control than any of those people. Why?
Sure.
Because I'm the one that's openly saying, I have all these thoughts, I have all these bad emotions, but I don't let them into reality. I don't act on them. Most people hide their thoughts and hide their emotions. Most people hide their sin. Most people hide their crazy. Most people hide their demons. I simply learned about them. I simply experimented them. I simply made them my fuel. Not just my fuel, but I was able to let them go. I was able to let go of this idea that I need to kill people. I was able to let go of this idea that I needed to end my existence. Why? Because I love myself. Why? Because I love my reality. Why? Because I create my reality. Okay? God created us in his likeness and his image. What does that mean? Likeness is the character of God. To be like God is to be loving, to be strong, to be just, to be fair, to be respectful, to be honorable, to be dedicated, and to create. Well, how does God create? God gave us his image. Does that mean we look like God? No, that doesn't mean we look like God. The word imagination cannot be spelled without the word image. God gave us his imagination and he created us in the imagination. Don't believe me? Look at every single creature on earth. Every single creature on earth. Why are we on top of the food chain? Imagination, the ability to imagine. We see what it is that we want in our minds before we see it in reality. Okay? Name me one creature. Name me one fucking creature that can do what we do.
You can't.
And why? They don't have the image of God. They don't have the imagination of God, and they weren't created to be like God. They weren't created to have the character of God, period.
Okay, oftentimes you see two guys in the ring and you hear like, "Oh, that guy's been mentally broken." I've seen and I talked to King Kai and he's got himself like somebody who helps with the mindset and stuff like that. How important is being a professional athlete and having that mindset and being mentally prepared and mentally physically strong?
How important is it?
Yeah, yeah, and I guess like like I mean, like I said, you see somebody like Kai, and everybody keeps talking about Kai, like, oh, he's gonna lose this fight, and he's so much more mentally prepared and mentally strong than his opponents that he dominates. Like, and it just like how being mentally more dominant than your opponent can put you to the victory.
The problem there, and I don't know if you're asking this, but the problem with what these fighters are doing, the problem with what these fighters are creating, the problem with what these mental coaches are creating and all these advisors and managers are creating is they're creating an ego. They're creating an alter ego. And what that does spiritually is that like, okay, here is you, right? Right? Imagine you're here in between my hands, right? This is you. And you take these ideas, you take these thoughts, these emotions, and you start putting them into action. And you're doing it on camera, you're doing it on stage, right? You must be able to simultaneously differentiate, but also at the same time simultaneously relate to this character you're creating. And the Bible says, do not be double minded. Okay. So, like, I can turn it on, I can turn it off, but it's always me. Okay. I'm never going to start acting a specific way because somebody's going to pay me a certain amount of money and whatnot. That's how you sell your soul. Okay. You cannot serve both God and money. And so, with that said, God has always provided for me. I've always provided for me, man. Like, every time I was in a grave, God was always pulling me out. God was always pulling me out. And I was not raised religious, man. People are like, well, what makes you believe in God? What makes you know God so much? Because I know God. I've seen God. God has provided his God has provided his existence, his presence to me so many times. For example, I want you to close your eyes real quick. Close your eyes real
Okay,
quick. We'll get back to your question. Trust me, I talk in loops.
sure.
I want you to take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. I want you to take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. Take another deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. Now I want you to take another deep breath in. And I want you to imagine that you're talking to God. Just imagine you're talking to God. And I want you to ask God in your head, what is it that I need help with? What is it that I need to know? What is it that I need to feel? What is it that I need to be? And when you hear that voice from God, when you hear that voice from your consciousness, which is connected to God, please say yes.
Did you say yes?
No, please say yes when you're ready.
Yes.
Okay, summarize that in one word. What is it that you need to know?
Ambition.
Ambition. Perfect. Okay. Before you even told me that, I got the pages number 1632 in my head and 1642. So we're gonna go through there. All right. Ambition. Okay. I'm very spiritually gifted, brother.
Okay.
I'm very connected. Okay. Ambition. Ha ha. Okay. The parable of the weeds and the parable of the mustard seed and the yeast. Okay. So Christ told Jesus told them another parable. The kingdom of heaven is like a man who sowed good seed in the field. But while everyone was sleeping, his enemy came and sowed weeds among the wheat and went away. When the wheat sprouted and formed heads, then the weeds also appeared. The owner's servants came to him and said, "Sir, didn't you sow good seed in your field? Where then did the weeds come from?" "An enemy did this," he replied. The servants asked him, "Do you want us to go and pull them up?" "No," he answered, "because while you are pulling the weeds, you may uproot the wheat with them. Let both grow together until the harvest. At the time, I will tell the harvesters, first collect the weeds and tie them in bundles to be burned, then gather the wheat and bring them into my barn." This is amazing. Ambition is a seed. I just did a video on this. I just posted a video on this. The word plant has the word plan in it. So when you put a T at the word at the end of plan, you put trust in the plan, and that's when it becomes planted. And when you plant your plants, they grow into trees, and it's like fruit trees. You grab the fruit, you eat the fruit, and inside the fruit is more seeds. You plant those seeds, and now you have an abundance of plans that are coming to fruition. So check this out. You just mentioned ambition. Literally, planting a seed is ambitious. Now, we were just talking about, we were just talking about, I was just talking about how a fighter creates this ego that is outside of themselves. It's in themselves, but starts becoming an extension of them. And it's dangerous because it creates a double mind. Okay? So the parable of the weeds, Christ is saying, don't pull up all the weeds at once because you'll pull up the wheat. We want to grow the wheat, right?
Sure.
The wheat is the good in you. Okay. But what happens is a lot of these fighters and a lot of these athletes, a lot of these actors, etc., they create this alter ego and they use shock value, right? They're attempting to sell sex and violence, sex and violence, sex and violence, because it's very attractive to the animal in us, right? If you
Sure.
think about chakras, all your energy centers, the lowest one is your root chakra, literally your groin. Okay, we're all here because of sexual reproduction, right? The lowest form of energy is your root chakra. It's your sexual energy. Now we're all here because of the sexual energy, but what does sexual energy come from? As a man, it's from your testosterone, right? What does testosterone do? When you increase testosterone, you increase the violence factor and you increase the sexual factor as well, right?
Okay.
But when you start becoming wiser and you learn how to channel this energy, you literally ascend the energy up into your mind. And there are 33 vertebrae, just like there's 33 rungs in Jacob's ladder. And so Christ died at 33. And so there's this fluid, literally, there's this fluid in your spine. It's called Christos, right? And
Okay.
when you channel that fluid up your spine, you're ascending that fluid into your crown chakra, which is your halo, right? You got to think about what a halo is, bro. It's
Okay.
it's light, it's light, and it's a circle. Circle represents eternity. Energy cannot be created nor destroyed. Energy cannot be created nor destroyed. We are eternal light. We are eternal light. And so when you create this ego, you want to make sure that the ego is increasing your light, enlightenment. You want to make sure that there's no shadow. You want to make sure that there's no darkness that you are creating with that because you will deceive yourself. You will only hurt yourself. That says shadow work, right?
Okay.
So basically, light defeats the darkness. And so it's like what I'm doing as I start expressing myself. Notice how I didn't talk disrespectfully about my opponent. Notice how I didn't say
Sure.
I'm gonna box my opponent's face in, right? Like that's the objective. I don't need to tell everybody I'm gonna do that. Obviously, that comes with the territory, right? But if I tell you I'm gonna be calm, if I tell you I'm gonna be confident, I'm gonna be in control, I'm gonna be respectful, I'm gonna be loving, right? I'm gonna help my opponent up off the ground. I'm gonna raise my opponent's hand after I win. Like What can you say bad about that? You can't. And so going back to the parable of the weeds, by the way, I don't know if you noticed this. I'm telling you the truth. I don't know the Bible pages. That came to
Okay.
me, right? So are you recognizing it that I have a spiritual gift that God talks to me?
Yes, sir.
Do you think do you think that prophets just stop? Like everybody could be prophetic. Everybody could receive the word of God. It's right here. So think about it. Going back to Kai, going back to Lorenzo Hunt, okay? So Lorenzo Hunt's the person that really turned me on to BKFC. Like I really liked watching him. And then
Okay.
Kai came along, and Kai, as he develops his character, is being less like his real self, because I've seen Kai talk normally and I've seen him when he's in character. Bro, I've always been the guy that could be really intense or I could be really calm. So if I turn it up, I'm still being me. If I'm relaxed, I'm still being me. Right?
Okay.
So it's the content of what you're projecting that either makes you content or not content. Right? So the point about this is you must make sure that as you're growing this character, that it is in accordance, it is in alignment with who you are. Otherwise, you're going to sprout up weeds and not wheat. And you want wheat because wheat is the good, and you don't want the weeds because the weed is useless. It's bad for you. Does it make sense?
Sure. So let me ask you this then. So like Dave Feldman, has talked about like fighters needing to be more personable and be more of a character and stuff like that. Like, do you agree with that, or are you saying like they should be focusing on creating their own person that, into more of the character, or
You
like
should.
you're saying that alter ego is bad, right?
I'm not saying I'm not. I'm saying alter ego is bad. I'm saying
Sure.
ego is bad, but
Okay.
character is everything. People want to relate to the character, right?
Sure.
Think about communication. Think about communication, right? The way we communicate with others is dictated by the way we communicate with ourselves. There are three main forms of communication that I teach in my practice, in my coaching, right? Entertain, educate, empower. In that order. Why? When you meet somebody new, you better be interesting. Entertain them. The intro is the first impression that lasts. Entertain them. Now, once you entertain them, now they like you. And if they like you, now you educate them with facts. Now they trust you. And if they like you and trust you, it is so much easier to empower them. Empower them to what? It is so much easier. I'm going to pop back on here in a second. One
You're
second.
good.
Okay. It is so much easier to
You're good.
empower someone. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? It is so much easier to empower someone when you educate them with fact because you've entertained them, right? If they like you and they trust you, you can empower them to follow you. So the point about it is that I actually want to take my business and I actually want to be the mental manager for all the fighters in BKFC. I want to help the character. I want to create a division with Dave Feldman that promotes character development, not ego development, not alter ego development, character development. And this is going to translate and transform into other sports. I guarantee you. NFL, NBA, MLB, UFC. I guarantee you.
Have you gotten to meet and talk to Dave and kind of help him with some of this mental stuff? I mean, like just you and me talking has been so amazing. Like I feel like I'm learning so much. Have you been able to do this with Dave?
As much as I hate the idea of like the 48 laws of power because it's very manipulative. I'm a very innocent open person, right? Like I will tell everybody everything. And then people around me that love me are like, "Hey man, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't do that. They're going to use you." I'm like, "Well, fucking let them use me. They're not going to fight me though." Right? Fucking let them
Sure.
use me. They're not going to fucking fight me, right? So, as I'm saying that, like I could feel the cannibal in my heart getting hungry. So, the idea here is this. It's you ask the question, did I ever express this to Dave, right?
Sure.
No, not yet. Why? Going back to the 48 laws of power. One of the laws of power is not to overstep your boundaries.
Sure.
Okay? that could be a limiting belief. But because other people believe you shouldn't overstep your boundaries, the people in power that are accustomed to people not overstepping the boundaries are expecting that from you. So I could walk up to Dave and be like, yo, Dave, I love you, man. I have this great idea. I have 5 fucking seconds to impress him,
Sure.
right? The way I interact with Dave is I look him dead in his eyes. I nod, he nods, we smile. I walk up, shake his hand. How you doing? Doing great. Awesome. That's it. Why? I had 2 fights in BKFC. Maybe he's really impressed with me, maybe he's not. But my job as a fighter, first and foremost, I fight, I win, I take the title, or even before I take the title, I express these ideas to Dave. I express these ideas to the chain of command, which I am doing. There's a chain of command. There are other BKFC employees that I'm expressing these ideas to. They start to go into it. Dave trusts them. Dave sees I'm fighting and winning. He trusts me in that aspect. I'm helping other fighters. Other fighters are telling, hey, Dave, this guy knows what he's doing. Dave's done therapy. He's in articles talking about it. Dave has a fucking amazing, crazy background and history, right?
He does.
Dave's a
Yeah.
prime candidate for what I do. There's a proper way to deliver. There's a proper way to deliver my idea. And I'm in the process of doing that.
Okay, so just in case people don't see the other interview, like I said, and I don't know exactly what part, we did talk about your upcoming opponent, Brandon Conley, 2-0, super strong guy, super muscular. And like you said, you had nothing bad to say about him. You saw, you said you're going to be calm. You weren't going to give me your game plan, but was there anything, did you see anything in his 2 fights that you should be worried about, or you basically figured him out?
I'm not a worrier, I'm a warrior. And warriors study war, and all war is based on deception. If you have 2 opponents equal in size and in skill and in strength, he who masters the feint wins. What does that mean? Christ spoke in parables. I do too. Why? Because Christ is in me.
Okay.
And so let those who have eyes see and let those who have ears hear. So, with that said, talking about Brandon, I manifested Brandon as my opponent. You're probably thinking, what does that mean? Well, I wanted to be in the Guinness Book of World Records. I like to set records and I like to break records. I manifested the first record I set. I became California's first ever sanctioned bare knuckle boxer to walk to the ring and fight that night. I was the first one to ever knock somebody down in the state of California in a sanctioned bare knuckle fight. I believe that we broke records for punches thrown and punches land, punches fired and punches land. I believe we also set a record for how many punches we both absorbed, and only there was one knockdown, Keith Richardson, right? And so there's all the records there. And now I'm fighting Brandon Connolly, who is in the Guinness Book of World Records. And when I beat him, I'll be the first person to beat somebody in the Guinness Book of World Records within the BKFC, right? So I'll be in the Guinness Book of World Records for that. But let's examine it. What did I mean by I manifested him? So when I discovered who Keith Richardson's last opponent was, um, it was Brandon Connolly. I started researching him. And as I was researching him, I just knew I was going to fight this guy. I just knew I was going to fight this guy. So I was studying him. I know, I know when he punches. I know his exact movements before he punches. I know every time his toe twitches before he punches. I know the look in his eye before he punches. I know the energy he has prior to punches, prior to moving. Okay. I know the numbers he typically fires. All right. And I just know him. Consciously, he's sitting over there. He's probably thinking about me in different ways. I'm thinking about him. I can feel him right now as I'm talking. And I know for a fact that I have already won. And so, with that said, if you spell the one, if you spell word one backwards, it's spelled now, N-O-W. How do we win? We win from within. You can't spell win without the word in, right? How do we win in the future? We win now. One backwards is now, right? So you
Sure.
got to know, not believe, you got to know you've already won. I know I've already won. That's not cocky. That's not arrogant. It's this. Everything that we do first begins in the mind as thoughts. Everything. And when you know what I know, it becomes a superpower and you can create exactly what you want. So, Brandon Connolly, thank you very much for taking this fight. I respect you. I wish you the best. I know you want to buy a home, pay off your home. I know you have a family, 3 kids. You know, I wish you the absolute best after I beat you, before and after I beat you. But when we're in that ring, my objective is win. That's it. And so I know you can respect that because that's your objective too. And I respect you for that. So, knuckle up.
So your fight, you wanted to fight at 185. Is 185 going to be your home for now, or like, do you see that being like a good weight for you?
I didn't want to fight at 185. I wanted to fight at 205.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I'm 5'9". I'm not tall. I like to kill giants. The story of
Okay.
David versus Goliath is very nice. Think about it. I was always a year or two younger than everybody. My mom put me in fucking kindergarten when I was 4 years old, stuck me on Ritalin. She didn't want me around because my mom fucking was too young and she didn't have, she didn't, my dad wasn't around to help. And my mom was, my mom had a fucking shitty life, man. And
Yeah.
I used to hate her. I used to blame her. But as an older, wiser guy, I don't agree with what she did. I still hate what she did, but I don't hate her. And that was part of my healing process was to not to hate my mom, not to hate my dad either, um, and to appreciate that everything that had happened, good and bad in my life, has led till now. And so the question you were asking me, if I could remember vividly, would be I'm actually forgetting now because I'm thinking about the past. So
I honestly just forgot too. Like I see like people are streaming in here to watch you. Like I love it and think it's great. God, what the heck was the question?
how many people you got here?
There's three of us right now, but I mean, like I said, like usually, I'm gonna be honest. Like I have a much larger following on YouTube, but like millions reach out and they wanted to start covering more BKFC stuff, and I like Bruce Buffer like helps fund it, and like it's they're trying to bring more people into over to bare knuckle, and I'm a fan. Oh, it was the weight class. I was curious about your weight class. What?
Gotcha. So yeah, man, I was always smaller than everybody. But once I hit my growth spurt, at the age of 13, 14, by the time I was 15, I was like 170 pounds of solid muscle. By the time I was 16, like 180, 17, 190. And then when I became 18 years old, I was 210, 215. And I fucking stupid strong, very, very strong, very powerful, very quick, like very, very quick. And that's a recipe for disaster against bigger people. In bare knuckle, though, to be fair, not to be delusional, but in bare knuckle, you're fighting guys at 205. They're longer, so like even though I may have better skill and better attributes, you know, having to work my way in, and getting hit from the outside and getting cut up, like even though I might be
Sure,
able to take that person down and fucking strangle them, even though I might be able to take that person down and pound their fucking head into nothing, even though I might be able to take them down and rip off one of their limbs, it's bare knuckle boxing. And so the intelligent aspect would be, let's fight at the weight. Not that I'm trying to fight somebody smaller, but more so, where am I going to have the best endurance?
sure,
Where am I going to have the best durability? Where am I going to have the best mobility? How am I going to have the best flexibility? Well, as I cut, weight, which is not a lot of weight, as I get to 185, I feel like that kid in high school again that was a state champion captain of a state champion football team, nose guard, defensive lineman. I begin feeling that the kid that could bench press a fucking 300-pound man off of me like he was a child or hit the gap and get right aside of him. I am a fucking crazy good athlete. And at the age of 36, I'm not fucking slowing down. I'm speeding up actually because I'm dropping off all that useless weight. So 185 is what I was told to be at. Nate Shook, the matchmaker, says I can get you more fights at 185. I could fly you around, etc. I could theoretically go down to 175 if I wanted to, but because Lorenzo Hunt, I respect him so much. Lorenzo Hunt has a character, right, that he created, and it's very different from Lorenzo as a person. Lorenzo's a fucking really nice
absolutely.
guy. He likes me a lot too. From the couple times we interacted, he liked me enough to talk to his wife about me and his kids. And Lorenzo, if and when we ever fight, I have your respect, brother. I respect you, and I know I have your respect. So saying this to you is that Lorenzo, he fucking conquered the 185, the 205, and almost conquered the heavyweight division. And
Sure.
so Lorenzo coming right back to it, and he's fighting Chris Camamizzi in Italy for the 205-pound title. He's no taller than me,
Right.
right? And he's doing this in the age of 40.
Yeah.
He's a very mentally strong, very physically strong, very quick guy. And I feel like I'm just like him. I think I'm just like him. I know I'm just like him. I know that I have better qualities in certain ways too. I don't know that he has better qualities than me in certain ways, but that's fighting style. I like my fighting style. I also like his fighting style. But the reason why I'm mentioning this is for this reason, and this reason alone. People aren't going to remember John Jones as the giant killer.
Right.
People are going to remember John Jones as the best, but they're always going to say, did he really fight guys his size? And did he fight guys his size and his skill set? Did he fight guys his size, skill set with his mindset? Did he fight guys his skill set, his mindset, his size in their prime? Was Stipe Miocic in
Right.
his prime? Fuck no. Fuck no. Stipe had major back issues. He was 42 years old. Did Stipe still crack his ass? Yes. So kudos, credit to John Jones. But a prime Stipe Miocic takes John deeper than 3 rounds and probably beats him maybe by decision if Gustafsson could do that. But if you look at Lorenzo Hunt and you say, okay, let's look at Lorenzo Hunt's career, 85, 205 heavyweight, 5'9". He'll never admit that, right? Because for some reason there's an ego there. But
Sure.
Lorenzo, if you're watching this, bro, embrace the fact that you're 5'9", 5'10". Embrace that because you're a fucking giant killer, brother. You're a giant killer, and you inspired me even more to do this sport. So thank you. I want to be known as a giant killer. I want to be known as a David from the Bible who conquered Goliath. I want to be known as someone who not just kills men in front of them who are dangerous, but helps the men revive and helps the people live longer and stronger lives, better, healthier, wealthier, happier lives because I empower others, because I love others. Christ says, love others as I have loved you. That's the final commandment he gave us, and I must do that.
I know you're an entrepreneur. Like, what? I mean, it's crazy because you got the hypnosis and you got the fighting. Like, what made you want to be an entrepreneur? And what makes you want to help so many entrepreneurs? Because I feel like you help more than, like, every time I turn around, I see you helping somebody. I see you helping build this. I see you helping get this off the ground. What makes you want to, like, constantly help others get better and do better?
Standing in a fucking factory, making $12 an hour, temporary agency, and my job is to crawl underneath a 30-foot 30,000-pound concrete panel that you build Walmarts and Home Depots out of. And crawling under there to take a hammer and knock out little wooden blocks in the concrete called spacers. And then to crawl back out from underneath there while there's literally snow and ice on the crane that's dangling this piece of concrete that could kill me and squash me like a bug. And it's like I accidentally squashed an ant earlier patting a tree. I looked at the ant and I felt the ant's death. I felt the ant's pain, and I felt horrible because I thought, what is it like to be a little ant? What is it like to be this little person that no one cares about? That no one cares if they no longer exist. So I know what
Right.
it's like to feel small. I know what it's like to be small. I know what it's like to feel and be powerless or think that way. I know what it's like to be in the factories and be at work, and I know what it's like to be in school and just be lost. And the Bible says hell is a place of gnashing of teeth and great regret. Gnashing of teeth would be anger, right? Like,
Sure.
and then regret would be the fact that you can't create anymore, the fact that you can't change anymore, the fact that you can't repeat the past. And people will always tell you you can't change the past. I do not agree. You can change the way you feel about the past. You can change the way you think about the past. And every single day is a new beginning. Every single day is a new life. And so when you're dead and if you're in hell and you're disconnected from God, you don't have that ability to live another day. You don't have that ability to wake up to the sun on your face. Maybe you're a spirit, maybe you're a soul, maybe you're a demon, and you get to experience um, the other humans actually enjoying life. But I imagine when you die, if you're in hell, you're not actually in hell yet because hell is reserved for the end of time. But you're in purgatory. I imagine being in purgatory or being in hell and looking into existence and seeing life as this opportunity to be happy, this opportunity to be healthy, this opportunity to be wealthy, and this opportunity to experience, this opportunity to help others, to love others. And so I just know what it's like to be the kid whose whose dad lived next door. Like I could literally knock on the wall and hear my dad say hello in the projects of Pennsylvania, knowing he lives right next door and I'm living in my mom's house and I don't know him. And I'm not protected by him and I'm not provided for by him. I know it's like to live in my mom's house and she's so lost within herself. She's fighting her own demons and she can't even love her own kid. And she has one kid after another because she so desperately wants a daughter so she can rewrite all the wrongs in her life through her daughter. And then when she has a daughter, she ties her tubes. Well, she had four other sons along the way, you know, and I know what it's like not to be properly loved. And I know that everybody here in this life has had one, at least one moment where they were not properly loved. And that's what I fight for. That's what I win for. Those are the people I fight for. Those are the people I win for. That is what I fight for. I fight for love. And so I look at sports, and the reason why I'm here today, the reason why I'm in California is because I said a prayer April 4th, 2014, and it was answered. I posted the prayer on Facebook, and Emmanuel Paul Newton, who was a light heavyweight champion of Bellator at the time, sent me a message and said it was put on my heart. God put it on my heart to contact you. Here's my number. God is real. I still have that message. And I came
Wow.
to California after that. And that was 5 minutes after I said a prayer. And I didn't say a prayer in a very long time. And so to tell you that I fight for love, I fight for God, I fight for Christ, I win for love, I win for God, I win for Christ. And I posted this prayer and I talked about after the prayer on this Facebook post, I said, all of the world champions, all of the legends of any sport, including fighting, they all believe in God or they know God. It's not that they believed in themselves, they believed in God. Like the Khabib Nurmagomedovs, the Fedor Emelianenkos, the
Right.
Muhammad Ali's, the Rocky Marcianos. Rocky Marciano's mother prayed every single day with a rosary in her hand at the Catholic Church the days he was fighting. He went 49 and 0.
Right.
49 and 0. And you know how he actually finally lost? Is when he got on an airplane, a private jet, to fly to another state where he had money hidden. He was flying to get money because he was so paranoid that people were trying to take his money from him. He was so addicted to the money, so scared. This man that beat everybody in front of him, undersized, this giant killer who beat everyone in front of him 49 fucking times, got on an airplane and one day before his birthday had his head cut off in an airplane accident because he was chasing money. You cannot serve both God and money. That's the lesson there.
It's so interesting that you and I we did the interview earlier, and I went in and I told my wife, I said, this guy is so intense. And you talked about unpacking your traumas, and she works in youth justice and helping kids and stuff like that and dealing with trauma and stuff like that. And I was like, you are gonna love this guy. I said, I can't wait to I'm gonna give her your information on Instagram and stuff like that. I said, this guy and you have so much in common and helping people and with the trauma and stuff like that. And every time, like I said, I don't know why I'm just drawn. It's that whole like you entertain me and you draw me in. You know what I mean? Like you've done so much for me in just that little bit that we've talked.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you absorbing what I'm projecting because it's exactly the method here. Love one another. What is love, man? Love is helping. Love is healing. You can't spell the word health without heal. I want you to say healthy self, brother. Say healthy self.
Healthy self.
Now let's break it up. Let's gap it up. Healthy self is literally spelled heal thy self.
Okay.
In the Bible, God says, Christ says to her, to the woman, he says, my daughter or my sister, it is your faith and your faith alone that has healed you. So if you're talking about brain injuries, if you're talking about trauma, let's go back to brain injuries. Your brain can heal from CTE with neuroplasticity.
Sure.
Neuroplasticity is the rewiring, the recreation of new neural pathways throughout your brain. So anybody that's watching this, I could literally help your brain heal from CTE from the punches. Right? Now, here's the fact. Here's the fact, real quick. I'll help your wife with the kids. I work on kids all the time. But let's go back to Muzzy, Dr. Muzzy, who runs BKFC's medical. His wife did
Sure.
concussion tests on me before and after the fight. Before and after the fight, she told me, "You have scored the fastest tests of anybody I've ever worked on in MMA or boxing."
Nice.
Why do you think that is? I don't take fucking Ritalin. I don't take Adderall. I don't.
Sure.
This is me waking the fuck up. This is me going to bed.
Right.
So the point about it is I can help your wife with the kids, no problem. People have CTE, brain damage. I can help them, no problem. In fact, there's an amazing study, man. They worked on these people in nursing homes with dementia and Alzheimer's,
Hmm.
and they talked to the family members, and they asked the family members, "What is your parents' or grandparents' favorite songs?" Now, before I tell you this, all memory is sound, words, and images. Sound, words, and images. Close your eyes really quick and try to have any thought without sounds, words, or images. When you realize you can't, open your eyes.
Right. Yeah. I mean, yeah. No,
That's your
I'm
memory,
with you.
bro.
Yeah.
So I can change your memory with sounds, words, and images, right? So the point about this is they discovered through the family members the favorite songs, the favorite artists of each one of these individuals who were in the nursing home losing their memory. They uploaded music, their favorite songs, onto every one of these iPods. And this organization gave out these iPods to these people that were losing their memory. Wow, this gets me emotional.
Sure.
And they put the ear pods into these elderly people's ears. And all of a sudden, they went from staring blankly in the chairs to standing up and dancing and singing along. And the music created nostalgia, and the nostalgia created the memories, allowed the memories to flow back to them of the times when they first heard these songs, the times where they were really enjoying these songs. And the reason why I'm getting emotional about it is because the only grandparent I have alive is somebody I'm not connected to. It's my dad's mother. Her name is Gloria. And hypnosis tracks. I could create her a track with her favorite songs on it. And I could speak to her and tell her I love her and tell her how much I've always wanted to be connected to her because I never was. And before she dies, she could take that with her. She could take that with her soul and she could take that into heaven. And
Right.
I have a new mission now, thanks to you, man, for asking these questions. Um, so, you know, trauma is a thought, it's an emotion, and it's stored in the unconscious mind. The unconscious mind operates the body. And because the unconscious mind operates the body automatically, you don't need to. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Can you? Okay. So the unconscious mind is 90 to 95% of your brain activity, right? It operates your whole body's functions, so you don't need to. And the unconscious mind has one goal. Do you know what that goal is?
I do not.
Survival.
Okay. I honestly thought I was like keep you alive. Yeah.
Yeah. So the unconscious mind doesn't care about what you like. It doesn't care about what you love. It doesn't care about your favorite activities. It doesn't care about how much money you have. It only cares about survival. So if somebody was to give you water and food for the rest of your life and you were to lay in bed, you'd survive, but you wouldn't thrive. Okay? You wouldn't thrive. So let's go back to trauma. Trauma is the word that is Greek for wound. So let's look at these kids, right? These kids all have wounds. Parents, bad parents. Maybe they were molested. Maybe they were raped. Let's be real. This happens, right? These are the kinds of people that I work on. And their self worth is gone. It's gone. Like, you know, I don't want to speak too much about my ex because I'm in a relationship. I love my lady now. But, like, for example, my ex, she was heavily damaged as a kid. When you're heavily damaged by the people that are supposed to love you, like parents that are supposed to love you, when you're heavily damaged by them, you lose all faith, all respect, all love for authority.
Right.
And with that, you lose hope in yourself. You lose worth in yourself. And if a child doesn't have these traumas healed, then the unconscious mind is going to take those thoughts and take those emotions, and it's going to cause the body to automatically react in a way that is unfavorable, right?
Sure.
Fighting, running away, freezing, shutting down, fawning, adopting a submissive role. I mean, for crying out loud, they do studies on porn stars and whatnot. They're mostly been molested and raped. They do
Of
studies
course, yeah.
on, they've done a lot of studies on homosexuals and bisexuals. No offense to any one of you. And I say that with love. I really do. Am I homosexual? Am I bisexual? No. Do I have basic respect for human beings? Yes. And do I respect homosexuals and bisexuals? Yes. Is it my forte? Fuck no. But do I respect you? Fuck yes. And here's one of the reasons why I respect you. I look at every individual and I see them as kids. And every kid comes into this world innocent, pure, enthusiastic, and passionate for life. Every kid is a child of God. And children of God are the greatest gifts on earth. And Christ says, come to me thinking like children. And children do what? Children absorb. Children learn. Children follow. And when the teacher, when the rabbi is good and the kids follow, the kids become good too.
Sure.
If the kids are thirsty, he leads them to water. If the kids are spiritually thirsty, he leads them to spiritual water. And so if you think about these kids that have been molested, have been sexually abused, the studies prove it. The studies prove it that most people, I think it's 78% or higher, most people in those studies that are homosexual or bisexual were molested and raped as kids.
Yeah. I don't disagree with you.
And I think the reason why is because we're all here based upon sexual intercourse is why we're here, right? And God's first commandment was to multiply, right? So God's first commandment was multiply, and these are very heavy subjects, but that's my job. My job is very heavy subjects, right? And so
Right.
when you're talking about healing kids, brother, you and I both know that like 2 out of 3 women have been sexually abused, and that's just the ones that are reported. And it happens to boys too. It happens to boys.
Yeah.
I've seen it as kids. Luckily, I've never had it actually done to me, but I've seen it as a kid. I've seen other kids having it done to them. I've
Sure.
seen kids doing it to each other, and it's a big passion of mine to help children, not just of sexual abuse, but of violent abuse. Um, I want to throw out a guy's name here real quick. Bubba McDaniel. He fought in BKFC.
Yeah, yeah. He
There
fought
was a
Kamosi. Yeah, sure.
the guy that murdered his kid. I'm not going to say his name. The guy that
Right.
murdered his kid was found guilty, and now all of a sudden he's not guilty anymore. Man, like Bubba, if you watch this, I tell you over and over again, reach out to me. You have a hatred in your heart that you deserve to have, but you don't deserve to fucking let it kill you, bro. And like, if anybody ever killed my son or if my son died, I would probably be worse than him.
Sure.
But I wouldn't have verbalized it. Like, I'm just telling you right now, if somebody killed my son, and this is no disrespect to anybody, they wouldn't be dead. They'd be slaving away in a torture chamber of some kind,
Right.
and they'd be feeding on their own fecal matter until their fucking body quits,
Right.
until their unconscious mind quits. So,
Oh, I don't disagree with any of that stuff. And Kamosi is friends with Bubba. Like when all that stuff came out, like it felt awful for him. Like that's just it's an insane story. That's like you said. I feel terrible for that guy.
Wilder, Team Wilder, Wilder, Superman. I love that kid. Never met him, but I love that kid. I've seen him enough to love him. And every child deserves love, man. Every child deserves love. And may God bring justice. I think that maybe because I think when you get away with one, it comes back worse. So
Absolutely. Okay, my when I interview people for the first time, the last question I usually ask them, and I'm only saying this because I don't want to take up all your time, and my wife is making dinner. But otherwise we could keep talking for forever. The last question I always ask him is, "Do you remember the very first time you were in a street fight? The very first time you punched somebody out of anger? Usually in elementary school, you seem like you probably have it. It's a memory, it's a thought, it's in there. Do you remember that?"
a new level of confidence and power. Pantera, Phil Anselmo lyrics. Yes, I do. Speaking of music, creating nostalgia, I was 13 years old, rode my bike 7 miles to a place called New Philadelphia, interestingly enough. And I was going over there to spend time with my friends and sing in my band. I was in a band named Decimated that I named, and we covered bands like Pantera, Metallica, Slayer, and some death metal bands, Black Sabbath, and AC/DC. And we started writing originals. And I was riding my bike over there, and I was a very angry kid. When you get your fucking testosterone, when you get your growth spurt, and you're like pumped full of testosterone, and you have a
Sure.
childhood like I have, where it was just a very violent childhood, very hateful childhood. Family members are constantly punching each other in the fucking face at Christmas time. You fucking become violent, dude. And so there I am riding my bicycle over to New Philly, and like cars almost running me over, and they're honking the horn at me, and I'm just an angry 13-year-old kid. I fucking hate existence. I fucking hate the world at the time point in time. And I'm like, I want to kill somebody. I want to fucking kill somebody. I fucking kill somebody. And as I'm riding my bike, I pass this kid named Brent's house. And he's got a fuckload of fucking brothers and friends outside of his house.
Okay.
And they say something to me, and I'm mad. And I'm like, I usually keep to myself when I'm mad. I'm just like disgruntled and hold it in. And they're like, yo, Vital, where you coming from? I'm like, oh, I'm going, came from St. Clair, drove over my bike over, going to see Buziak, my buddy Buziak, and Bernitsky. And they were like, oh, why do you look so mad? And I'm like, fucking car almost fucking hit me and then honked the horn at me. I'm like, I'm on a bicycle, man. Like I'm riding on the side of the fucking road. I'm not in the road, right?
Right.
And he was like, oh, you think you're tough, don't you? And I'm like, I didn't have any muscle on me at this point in time. I didn't even have fucking biceps. My kid who's 8 years old right now has massive biceps. He had bigger biceps than I did when I was fucking 13, right? So fucking there's Brent, there's his buddy fucking Jay, who I played football with. I played football with both of them. And Jay's older, and Jay's a tough kid and tough dude. They're way bigger than I am, bro. They're over fucking 6 foot. They got arms like John Jones, right? To me, at least. And there I
Sure.
am, fucking probably like 5'7", 5'8", 13, and um, they just start talking negatively to me. They start disrespecting me. They start like threatening me, like, "Oh yeah, you think you're tough? Well, Brent could beat you up." I was like, and at this point, like I'm normally quiet, and I just nod my head and let people talk, and I like kill them in my mind, like I fucking murder them in my mind, right? But I'm like, no, he can't. And he's like, and they're like, yeah, he can. And I just was like, I was in no mood. I fucking threw my bike down. I got up in his fucking face, and I was like, prove it. And fucking Brent and Jay are on the railing of the porch, like the disrespect to be threatening me as your fucking life is dangling off of a high porch. I could just fucking, I don't have to punch you. I could just shove you. You're gonna hit your back of your head, maybe break an arm. But then when I come down there, I'm on you like a fucking lion, right?
Right.
So the disrespect, man. So I was like, all right, let's fight. I fucking went, I started getting crazy. I started yelling at them. So like, okay, they start setting the rules. We're like, this is gonna be a bare knuckle boxing match. I'm like, okay, fair enough. Let's
Yeah.
do it. Right? Because I always got in fights with kids, but I always wrestled. I have punched kids prior to this, but it wasn't like repetitive punching, right? It wasn't like I wasn't
Sure.
trying to kill him. This guy was ready to fucking die. Okay?
Okay.
He just didn't know it. He just didn't fucking know it. We're in his backyard, and his younger brother fucking is there, and that's actually all his brothers. His younger brother was a good dude, but it's all his brothers, him, and he was known for beating everybody up. And here I was about to beat up the town bully, right? The town tough guy. We square up. They set the rules, and we start going. I start doing exactly what I mimic, right? I get my hands up like Tyson, and I start shuffling my feet, and I'm moving my head like this. I'm in and out, in and out, in and out, right?
Yeah.
And I'm fainting at him, and he just fucking sits down low and hits me in the rib with a fucking jab, and it hurt, but I didn't let him know it hurt. He hit me there, and was like, smack, and I looked at him, and I was like, my turn, and I just fucking blitzed him, bap, 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 bap. And I was just rapid firing, hitting him. And then he just goes, "Oh, break, 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 break." His brother comes over. His brother's like, "Break, break, break." And Jay Morris was like, "Break, break, break." And I'm like, "Fucking break, what?" And there's like,
Right?
they're like, "Yeah, we have this is boxing. This is rounds." I'm like, "That wasn't even 30 seconds." Right? Like, I'm fucking even more mad. Like, why are you making me angry now? Do you want to win the fight? Like, let's just keep going. It's gonna get worse
Sure.
for you. It's gonna fucking get worse for you, right? So there I am, and fucking, he's like, "I'm gonna take a break." I'm like, "Well, what fucking constitutes the rounds? What constitutes the breaks?" When I get tired because I smoke cigarettes. It's not my fault you smoke cigarettes, you fucking idiot. What the
Right?
fuck? To me, this is kill or be killed. You're gonna die right now. So his brother has a fucking jar of blue Kool-Aid, dude. A fucking pitcher of blue Kool-Aid. And his brother's over there sitting down drinking it with a fucking nose bleeding, his eyes bleeding. And I go, "Fuck this." And he had one of those like tool sheds, right? And I walked over and I put my head through the fucking tool shed. I headbutt the tool shed. I'm only 13, man, so don't say it there and like, "Oh, this guy's on steroids, bro." I was 13 years old. I don't need steroids to be fucking aggressive and crazy. I run
Sure.
over there, I put my head through the fucking tool shed. I run over there and I punch him right in his fucking face as he's drinking the picture of this Kool-Aid. It fucking goes everywhere. It goes everywhere. And they're like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "Fuck you, you guys wanted to?" I'm like, "Get the fuck up, let's go. Let's fucking go." So he squares up with me. Clearly now he's intimidated.
Yeah.
I fucking run up on him. I start hitting him. He puts me in like a front headlock. That's not the rules of engagement. But you want to play
No.
that way, then you're going to get played. His mom had a white picket fence. She didn't have a white picket fence anymore. I ran him right the fuck through it. Ran right through the white picket fence. Way bigger than I was. "Oh no, you broke my mom's fence." "Fuck your mom's fence. And fuck you too. And while you're at it, where's your mom at?" "Oh, what the fuck you talking? Fuck you, you want it? Is it over?" No, he can't swallow his pride. It's not over yet. His fucking mom comes out, starts yelling, "You broke my fence, blah 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 blah." And I'm like, "Okay, I'm gonna be respectful. It's his mom, right? I'm not a bad guy. I'm not gonna talk shit to his mom, right? Whatever."
Sure.
So like, they're like, "Brent, you can't let him do that to you." So we walk into the woods by a creek. Like, okay, we're gonna go again. And I'm like, at this time, like I'm more calm than I was. And I'm like, "Okay, like it's not gonna be any different other than the fact it's
Right.
just gonna get worse for you, right?" So they say go. I blitz him again, and I hammer him, and a fucking guy tries to tackle me through bush, then like thorn bushes. I sprawl, and just the day prior, my friend Nick taught me a guillotine. Not a guillotine like
Okay.
this, but he taught me palm to palm guillotine.
Okay.
He shot on me, and he's the one that said it was boxing only. He shot on me. Left hand under the throat, right hand under the throat, chest over his head, can't let his head out, elbows pinched together, lifting up, taking a deep breath in, off his feet. He's dangling, he's tapping out. I grabbed by the back of his hair and I went, 1, 2, 3, fucking out, fucking nose is squirting blood everywhere. And now I said, "Where's my Kool-Aid?" And you know what his brother did? His brother went and fetched me a fucking pitcher of blue Kool-Aid. And the whole time I was fucking beating his face in, I was actually singing. I was moving to the beat in my head. "A new level of confidence and power." I swear that everything I just told you is true. So
I,
that
I I don't see you lying to me. Yeah.
is a real story. And there was a lot of witnesses there. Michael Carpensee, Andrea Krasnowski, Brent's brother, Brent, Jay Morris.
Do you still talk to any of those people?
I have connections to them, like I have them on Facebook and
Okay.
Instagram, but
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't talk to any of them anymore. No.
No, you're good. I wasn't sure, small town. You still saw them on occasion or talked to any of them. Like,
I'm in California. They're in Pennsylvania.
sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, man. Like I said, I feel like if we didn't stop it now, we would do like another hour. I appreciate it so much. Thanks so much. I can't wait to talk to you again. Get your win, and then we'll do it again, and we'll just keep doing it because you are fantastic to talk to.
Like Jocko Willing said to me last night, good.
Good, huh? All right, man. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Real quick, classic fight
Yep.
team. Tenori, sorry, Tenori Clothing Company, highest of the ordinary. Amazing clothes, man. Highest of the ordinary. Tenori is owned by Pat Tenori, formerly owned Ruka. Okay, he sold Ruka to Billabong. Then we got Classic Fight Team here. My main coaches are Tyler Wombles and Tyler Smith. All right, if you're in the Orange County area, Fountain Valley, come train a Classic Fight Team. Other than that, if you need some help physically, mentally, or spiritually, or you need it all, follow me at vital.visions, VIDAL.visions. I'm a certified hypnotherapist. I practice neurolinguistic programming. I'm a motivator. I am a doer and I am a winner. And I'm going to help you win in every single way that you want to win, so long as it is good for you. So thank you very much for having me, brother. Until next time, peace.
All right. Thanks, man. See ya. Bye.
Later, brother.